In this video, I'm going to be revealing the 1 hour strategy I used to make over $720,000 in 2025 with my freelance brand scaling marketing agency. Like I said, I'm giving away for completely free, so let's get straight into it. Starting with this little diagram here, which is going to slowly kind of cover about what we're going to be talking about in today's video. We're starting off with targeting, pitch, call, and then eventually the close where you obviously get paid, right? But before we get into all that, we need to figure out exactly who we are going to be targeting. What businesses are we going to be targeting? What niches are we going to get into? We're going to get into that right now. Okay. So here's all the business owners out there. We need to understand first off, what are their pain points? Okay. Is it financial, time, energy, or mental, right? Because one of these right here is probably solely, if not just one, multiple are driving them away from running Facebook and Instagram ads, or have already driven them away before in the past and they're just not continuing to do it anymore, right? Maybe they just don't have the money, they don't have the time right now, they don't know if they can delegate it to somebody, they don't have the energy, whatever, right? There's always some sort of excuse as to why they maybe haven't started running ads, or if they have in the past, it just maybe wasn't a good situation and they got out of it, right? So we need to understand those pain points, because at the end of the day, each and every single business owner wants the dream outcome. They want more time back from their business, right? They want a predictable growth system rather than using things like referrals and word of mouth where you can't scale that and it's not predictable, right? Clarity and confidence with their business, right? Somebody who actually knows how to run their ads properly, and more importantly, more revenue without mental stress, right? They have somebody that can actually run their ads without draining money. They're confident in it, and also they feel confident in you for your services, right? Because the sooner you're able to understand that, you're going to be able to reverse engineer your ideal customer, right? You can successfully move over to the next step, which is crafting your offer and message, okay? And this is extremely, extremely important, because here's what we're going to get into, right? Here's everybody else in the brand scaling space right here, marketing, SMA, whatever you want to call it. They're all just throwing rocks hoping that they hit, right? And it's always the same. It's nothing unique or different. And that's why no business owner wants to work with these people, is because you're just being like everybody else, right? When you blend into the crowd, you're not standing out at all. And that's exactly why you're not signing clients, which isn't landing you deals through outreach, right? Makes sense? So that leads me into my next point, which is your unique value proposition. All right, let me move this over a little bit. What makes you different from other people out there? What makes you different from the other brand scalers or marketing agencies? And that's what you really have to figure out on your own to differentiate yourself from everybody else. Because like I said, if you're like everybody else, they're just going to go with somebody else, right? It doesn't make any sense. So you need to figure out, why is your services easier, safer, and clearer than other alternatives out there, right? And what misconception can you break? Because one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about marketing agencies or freelancers is that they just maybe don't have the skills for it, right? Or maybe that marketing agencies before in the past have burned them, and that all marketing agencies are scams. You know what I mean? So you really just need to break that misconception with these people, because the sooner you can break those, the sooner you're going to land more clients, right? The next thing leads me on to the unique mechanism, which is extremely critical in landing any sort of clients through outreach, right? Your process has to have some sort of name, okay? When you come to somebody, you could just say like the service-based scaling system, right? Sounds kind of goofy, but at the same time, it's something that I can remember off the top of my head and say, this is exactly how it works. It's simple, it's repeatable, and it's understandable for them, okay? Which we'll get into here in a second. But you're focused on solving all the pain points from step one, which was understanding their pain points, right? Like financial, time, energy, or whatever the other one was. I can't remember now. But you clearly have a problem, right? And you need to make a solution for them, which makes their life a lot easier, right? And you need to understand the pain that they already feel. Yeah, I understand. I know that a lot of freelancers out there, marketing agencies have maybe done you bad before in the past, but here's why I'm different, right? And your system that you're going to be explaining to them should remove that pain point and make their life easier, okay? And there needs to be a clear before and after positioning of maybe previous marketers, or maybe their pain points that they have, and the system that you implement and why it removed those pain points and why you stand out from everybody else that's doing the exact same thing, right? Kind of makes sense. And the main thing that you really, really, really need to worry about on these meetings, or even in DMs or cold calls or anything like that, is that you need to speak their language, right? Not marketer language. You can't be saying ROAS and lower CPL and stuff like that. These guys probably just don't even know what the hell that means. It's like learning a new language to them. You need to be speaking in clear terms, stuff that they would be simply able to understand, right? Because if you make it more complex for them, when they hear big words and all these different things like that, they immediately get turned off, because like I said, it's like them learning a new language all over again. And it's just confusing to them. So you need to make it as straightforward as humanly possible. So you could just say, hey, we're going to be getting you more bookings. We're going to do creatives for you. We're going to be doing your campaigns, all that sort of good stuff. And we're just going to try to lower your cost per lead. Very, very simple, very straightforward, right? And it makes it a lot easier for them to understand that and maybe be more interested in your services. And rather than saying, we're going to be doing a set of retargeting and multiple different creatives in order to see if we can lower your CPL so you can get more bookings. Like, just theoretically off the top of my head here, you guys exactly see what I mean, the difference between the both of those. And the second one sounds a lot more confusing, and most of you guys probably don't even know what some of those terms mean, right? So you need to be able to make it sound like it's something that they'd be able to understand, okay? And what I mentioned earlier is that your process right here, your unique mechanism that you gave a name, right, and you make it different from everybody else, you got to understand, these people, if you don't do this unique value proposition, they get pitched like 30 times a day. They're getting cold calls, they're getting emails, they're getting cold DMs on Instagram, they have maybe friends or whatever that pitch them the same thing over and over and over. The same offer. It always sounds the same. It's, oh, we'll run your ads. Or a lot of now what people are doing is like the free trial, right? You need to be able to back it up with some sort of offer. Something that I've been doing recently, just giving out some free game for you guys, is that I've been offering only 1 month, like a first month trial essentially. So they'll pay me whatever the retainer is. Usually I don't work anything less than like $1,500 a month. And I usually back it up by saying, if we don't get you at least $1,500 in job, I'll give you a full refund. Because that makes it almost like a performance-based thing, similar to like the free trial, but instead it's a paid trial in a way, and they're not under contract or anything like that. If they want to work with me afterwards, they can. But if not, I'm willing to give them a full refund if we don't generate enough results for the $1,500 retainer or whatever I end up quoting them, right? Because truthfully, let's say it's a niche like detailing, for example, right? $1,500 in jobs is extremely doable. And if you cannot generate that for your client, you have a serious problem, right? And that also makes the furthermore pressure on me to generate them more results, make them more money. In the end, my process is different from everybody else, because most people see that and they're like, damn, this guy's willing to give a full refund if this doesn't go well. Like, this sounds like a win-win situation. Like, how can this go wrong? He's either going to make me $1,500 or more in jobs, or I'm just going to get my money back and go elsewhere, right? But that's exactly what I'm doing that's different from a lot of these people out there, is that they're selling these guys on 3 to 6 month long contracts or even longer, when I'm doing them from month to month. It sounds crazy. And a lot of people, well, how are you retaining these clients? You may be losing some, you may be winning some, but it builds the most credibility, right? It builds the most trust in me. Because like I said, when people hear maybe this exact same pitch all the time is, oh, it's like a 3-month contract, or, you know, whatever, they get turned off by that. You got to understand from the business owner's perspective that, like, if you're going to offer them a 3-month contract, they can't get out of it. Like, they're going to have to pay you every single month, which, yeah, cool, you get paid, but then they're stuck in this awkward position of, okay, what if the results aren't good? See what I'm saying? So you need to make your process unique, make it understandable, exactly what we talked about, not marketer language, like clear, simple terminology for them to be able to understand. And you need to make it unique and understandable and focus how exactly it solves their problems, okay? Now, choosing your outreach channel is probably the more easier ones here. And there's a whole list of them, to be honest with you. And I'm going to kind of rank these right now in this video for you guys to make your guys a little bit easier. First one, and I'm going to say this is probably the best one, is building a personal brand similar to how I've done for myself, okay? A lot of you guys have known me or maybe built a little bit of trust or anything along the lines of that because of my personal brand, because I've been posting on social media, because I have credibility, because I have the results, because I have everything listed on my social media, okay? And what this does is build a more trustworthiness, more credibility in my name of people that want to work with me. When businesses see my account, they see all the different results, all the testimonies, all the student results, they know I mean business, right? And this right here is a single thing alone that has brought me in, I would say, to be truthfully honest with you guys, maybe 80% of my business in the past like year and a half. It's just my personal brand. People trust me. They like me as a person. They know I'm genuine. And honestly, at the end of the day, my car is going off right now. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Anyways, that was so random. We're going on though. So there's either Instagram DMs as well, which is honestly probably second best, I would say, aside from personal brand. And this is what I do a lot of cold outreach on. I have people that go and do the outreach for me. Makes my life a lot easier. They do like 50 to 100 outreaches every single day. Another one, Facebook groups. Another one that's kind of untapped. I talked about this the other day in one of my other videos, where if you go in Facebook groups, like your town or your city that you live in, and you join their Facebook group and you pretty much just go through some of the posts, you're going to find somebody that's promoting their business. You can easily outreach to them, all right? So next thing is Facebook DMs. Obviously, that kind of leads into that. If you know friends or family, you can DM them as well. And then Friends of friends also helps. Like if you know your friends, they own like a detailing company or a wrap shop or something along the lines of that. That's a pretty much medium to warm lead. And probably one of the most easiest converting ones is like family slash like a warm network of families of friends, that sort of good stuff. And then lastly, another really, really good one is cold calling. So if I had to rank these though, through this system that I'm creating out for you guys, I would say your top bet is going to be with personal brands. Second is going to be Instagram DMs. Third is going to be cold calling. I maybe want to even put friends of friends and family up there as well, a little bit higher. And then I'd say maybe last would be Facebook and groups and DMs. I think that'd be a little bit less, to be honest with you. So before we kind of get into this next step, I want you to understand what we've already covered so far. We figured out exactly what problems that these businesses are having, and we're using these to our advantage, okay? When you hear that a business is having problems, maybe financial, time, energy, or mental, you need to use those to your advantage. You need to jot them down and remember them, because you need to use those against them on the meeting, which we'll be getting into shortly, okay? So you have a unique process. Now you figured out your outreach channel. Now you need to develop your outreach content, okay? Now, tailor your solutions to their needs specifically and showcase exactly what will happen once you tailor it to their needs, okay? The sooner you tailor to them and you kind of customize that package specifically for them, they feel more important and they feel like they're getting all their needs like solved essentially. And also they're being heard out, if that makes sense. So another cool thing you guys can do with your outreach is things like personalized videos, right? Going on Instagram and sending like a video of yourself, which is super personalized, and people love that because they're seeing a face of who's actually going to be potentially running their ads, right? Voice notes is another great one. I love to follow up with some of the people that DM me on Instagram with voice notes. It just sounds more personalized. They're hearing it come from me. It's not just some random pasted text or anything like that from ChatGPT, but also still really good. We'll get back to that. But you need to stand out, right? You need to stand out, and you need to be able to move on to the next step, which is literally making clear steps. And that's hopping on a meeting or getting them to apply to work with you, right? Like if you have a link in your bio, they can apply to work with you. Or more importantly, if you do get them in DMs, your next bet is to get them on a meeting, okay? And to make your life easier for all this, you can use AI, right? Things like ChatGPT, of course, right? Like if you're responding to somebody and you're not really sure what to say, you can honestly use ChatGPT or use a lot of their other AI softwares out there that can make your life a lot easier. Honestly, I feel like ChatGPT has probably been one of the biggest helps in my entire brand scaling journey to respond to people, emails, stuff like that. So use those things to your advantage, all right? Now, leading on to the next thing, okay? This is probably the most important part, and the reason why I've collected so much off of this system was follow-ups, okay? This is what I feel like not a lot of people are talking about, but it's 90% of where your money is going to be coming from when you do cold DMing, cold calling, anything like that, okay? Because once you follow up with somebody one time, they may not be interested, right? But if you follow up with them in maybe a month or two or every other couple weeks, like there's times where I'll follow up every other couple days if I'm doing cold DMs. I have somebody that goes in my account on Instagram, shout out Fareed, okay? He goes in my Instagram, DMs 50 to 100 people a day, depending on what Instagram lets me do, right? And he'll message them with scripts. I have a customized voice note that I'll send to them. Which you could do things like ManyChat. We'll talk about that in a different video. Super, super, super fire. Crazy sauce. I'll put you guys on later in a different video. But the follow-ups are everything, man. If you send them voice notes and you send them audio messages, voice notes and you send them videos of you like talking, and you just constantly follow up in the DMs, you land a lot more deals. Like honestly, I'll see if I can find one for the purpose of this video, but I think I had one literally today of a guy that was not originally interested. Then after a while, I just kept on following up with them and throwing so much different things at him, like results, voice notes, videos, and stuff like that. And he eventually got convinced, and we ended up getting a retainer for $1,500 off that. So follow-ups are absolutely everything. So consistent strategy for follow-ups, you need to build that out. Okay. Now, if you're doing 50 to 100 DMs a day, you need to be consistent on that, but you also need to be following up with those people. The easiest way to track these though is things like a CRM, like maybe Go High Level or a spreadsheet, right? That's like the free way and probably the more easier way without having to learn all the software and all that sort of good stuff, right? Makes your life a little bit easier. But spreadsheets, you could use like, I think it's, what is it? Google Spreadsheets, I think there's one. I can't remember the other one. It's like the green logo. You guys know what I'm talking about, bro. I don't know why I'm spacing out on that, right? And then you need to adjust based on your KPIs, right? You need to be like figuring out exactly how many clients are you trying to get every other couple of days, and really adjust more follow-ups or less follow-ups and meet those criteria that you're trying to hit with your marketing agency or as a freelancer, okay? And your next best bet is after you've done all this and you get on these follow-ups and people are more interested, is to get them on that call. On this call, you need to do three things: present your offer, handle any sort of objections, and eventually seal the deal, okay? Clearly outline what you're offering and how it benefits them, okay? And using those pain points, which we talked earlier in this video, there's always going to be at least one of those, okay? If it's not one of those four, maybe they're saying, oh, I've had a marketing agency that did me wrong, or they didn't generate me results, or I got scammed, or something along the lines of that, right? And that's exactly what you need to use on your offer and say, well, we're not like other marketing agencies. Here's what we do, right? Clearly outline that, make it understandable, give them a scope of services is what it's called, where you pretty much just list out all the services and what they're going to be given the minute they start working with you. Are you running their ads? Are you helping them with content? Are you helping them with email and SMS? Are you doing go high level? Like, what all are you implementing into their business, and make it clear and understandable for them so that they get a clear idea, and you're being both of you guys are being held accountable for what you guys are going to be doing, right? They need to be providing content for you, calling up the leads, doing whatever, right? And you need to be on top of all the scope of services that you're going to be laying out to them, okay? Second thing, most importantly, which is going to get you to seal the deal, is handling any sort of objections, okay? Be ready to address any sort of concerns that they have. Either it's money, usually, so like, oh, we're not making enough money right now, and that's exactly, furthermore, why you need to be convincing them to run on to start Instagram ads. Sorry, I was going to say run ads, but start Instagram ads, whatever. Two is if it actually can work, right? Understanding them that like, hey, this is a process, this is going to work. Here's what we've done for other people. This is what like maybe your past marketing agency was doing, and here's what we're doing differently from them, right? Figure out what it is, dive deep, and future pace, all right? And then lastly is use urgency and scarcity to encourage them to take action now, because a lot of these guys will say, hey, well, let me talk to my business partner, or let me follow back up with you in a couple of days and we'll talk about it. But the thing is, the longer they have to think about it, the more they're probably going to forget about it, and or just maybe they don't like the deal anymore. It sounded great in the moment, but then they're picking everything apart, saying, oh, this doesn't sound right, or what about this, blah, 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 and they never follow back up, right? And then you can follow back up over and over and over, but they're just not interested anymore. And that's the problem, okay? Now, once you guys are fully able to understand the system right here, okay, the outreach strategy right here is, it's a formula. Literally, you need to figure out your ideal business you're trying to target, figure out their problems, pretty much understand their dream outcome and what they want with their business, reverse engineer that, use that to make a good value proposition that's unique from everybody else, create that proposition, make it unique, have a name, something that's understandable and repeatable, and that why yours is different from everybody else, which you could sell them on. Find the outreach channel that you want to do this through, understand and tailor to their needs, then follow up with these guys after you're doing the outreach. Hop on that meeting, present your offer, handle objections, seal the deal, get paid, and then guess what? Boom, you get a big old fat retainer, which is most likely going to happen if you differentiate yourself from everybody else. And of course, you have like some results and some other good stuff, right? But this is the formula I've literally used right here. And it sounds maybe a little bit more, it maybe sounds a little bit easier than maybe a lot of you guys are thinking. But truthfully, at the end of the day, you need to understand that this is a full-blown system that if you can implement into your marketing agency or even as a freelancer, you're going to be dominating your competition, right? You guys can just take a look for yourself, right? I know I'm kind of rambling here, but look in the brand scaling space and see what everybody else is doing and seeing how you can differentiate yourself, because not a lot of people know. I do 1 month to month like trials, and then I give them a full refund if I don't do good, because one, I don't deserve that money if they're not generating real results, right? Two, most of the people aren't even doing anything along the lines of that. They're sitting there saying, oh, well, let's do 3 to 6 months. And that's what makes me different. On top of the fact that I'm posting on social media, a lot of the guys in the brand scaling space right now, maybe some of the people that are on the come up just aren't even posting on social media. Like, they're building no credibility, which we've talked about in multiple videos before in the past. So this is the system I use right here to land insane retainers that have literally generated my marketing agency over $700,000 in 2025. And like I said, it could have been a whole lot more had I implemented this system in a whole lot sooner, right? Because like I said, before even doing this strategy and laying this out, I was just blindlessly sending out DMs and cold calls and not following up. And that was losing me money, right? I was making money here and there, excluding from this amount right here, because total brand scaling, we did a lot more. But this strategy alone, once I implemented it, I've literally been tracking it and seeing exactly what I've done to calculate to this number. So very, very, very important stuff right here. If you guys don't have this implemented or any sort of systems into your marketing agency, or even as a freelancer, eventually getting into a marketing agency, you're not going to do as good as your competition, and you're going to be really, really upset when you don't see the results start rolling in. All right. So that's pretty much it for this video. I just want to share with this to you guys. I made like this beautiful little Miro board for y'all to understand. If you guys want this, feel free to comment down below in the description. I'll share it to some of you guys, or DM me on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And I'll go ahead and send it over to you guys. I'm just not going to make it public though, because I don't want people editing it for obvious reasons. But I don't mind like copying it and sending it to some of you guys. So I hope that really helped a lot of you guys. I know it sounds a little bit easier said than done, or a little bit easier than all this graph here. But truthfully, guys, I really recommend you implement systems like this, because it'll make your life a whole lot easier. All right. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one, make sure to click the link down below, myfreelancebrandscaling.com. You guys can apply to work with me one-on-one. I can implement this system into either your marketing agency, or even if you're a freelancer, I can help you out as well. We do absolutely everything. We do like weekly calls. We do like one-on-one calls. You get my phone number, whole bunch of good stuff. I'd love to hear from some of you guys in the comment section down below if this video actually provide value for you guys. And like I said, if you guys want to work with me one-on-one, check out that link down below. But aside from that, I really appreciate all of you guys. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. God bless y'all. See you in the next video. Peace.